2, 1. How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the Esports Podcast. I'm Chris Kid Liquid Okamura. I'm here back with Caleb Finn, and Dylan Pepis Hornibrook. How's it going, fellas?
Hi, Captain.
Doing well.
Awesome. So we're here with episode 3. We skipped last week. All of us got a little bit busy, but we're back on track this week. Although I think we're going to probably skip out next week, too, with what's going on right now. With E3 right around the corner, guys, it is the 9th, the night of the 9th. So we got about 4 or 5 days left until the big event, sort of the Christmas of esports, or the Christmas of gaming, of the gaming industry. A lot of things announced. So, guys, what's the big thing you're looking forward to? Not esports wise, just game wise. What's the big thing we're all excited for?
Battlefront. I love Star Wars.
I was just going to say, for me, it's Zelda. I'm still jonesing for any given content I can get for the next Zelda game.
Hey, Nintendo announced it's not there, though, Dylan.
I know. It's what I want there. It's not going to be there, but it's what I want. Who knows? Maybe they just pull a surprise. Just
how Nintendo-like would it be that they said that, yeah, no, it's not there, and then you just bring it out anyway?
That would be awesome, actually.
That'd be the most Nintendo-like thing they could possibly do.
They would blow minds.
There
would be people hysterically crying, like in the seats. They'd be like, "Oh my god, they gave us Zelda! God bless you, Reggie."
Well, to be honest, I was in the stage the year that they announced Twilight Princess, when they had like the Wii Music thing on the stage, and then all of a sudden they started playing the Zelda theme.
Did you shed a tear?
I did. That was like one of the craziest moments ever. I was dying, man. That was crazy. But I have to say mine is Mass Effect, man. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. If they announce Mass Effect HD or Mass Effect 4, I will just blow all my loads all over the place. I want to buy that game so bad. I'll buy that. Dude, I literally have Mass Effect 1 through 3 probably about 4 times. I bought the originals, the collector's editions, all the recollection packages they have. I love that series. So Mass Effect 4 is a big thing for me, and then I think there's a rumor of an HD collection, so super excited for that. But that's not why people come to this podcast, guys. E3 predictions and sort of future esports. There's a lot of games we know are coming. Let's try and tackle those first. We have Battlefront, of course, so Cable can go ahead with that. We have Street Fighter. We know most likely there's a Gears of War, a Halo, Call of Duty, Battleborn's maybe a maybe, or like a maybe kind of esports, and Overwatch, of course. A lot of first-person shooters. What do you see coming out as like sort of on top there as a shooter? And where do they fit sort of in the landscape? It's kind of weird.
Each has its own niche, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Overwatch, I think, is. I mean, it depends on which platform you're looking at too, though. But Overwatch PC, I think, is going to come out as the PC winner there. It's a niche, though. It's a niche FPS. It's role-playing FPS. It's a MOBA FPS kind of thing, right? So I think it'll be different. But it has Blizzard. It has Activision. Anybody who loves anything Blizzard is always going to love the next thing Blizzard comes out with. So it's already got a pre-built fan base in that. I'm super excited for Overwatch. I think it's very exciting, very promising. It's Smite mixed with Team Fortress mixed with Jedi Knight, you could even say, right, back in the day for Star Wars. I am really excited for it. But my thing, like you said, and I said before, is Battlefront. Man, I have been dreaming for the next Battlefront. That said, I've done a little bit of research on the game. I got to do the preview at the Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. They did a special preview that people were waiting 4 hours to see, HD footage in Dolby Atmos 3D surround. It was amazing, and it made you you really felt like you were in the Star Wars universe. The graphics are that good. The way they've set it up is that good. But as far as the gameplay, I've been reading a lot of things, and things like AT-ATs are on rails.
Yeah.
And the versatility of the characters are not very much so. And I don't know, everything that everyone's ever wanted out of the next Battlefront, they are not doing. It's very disappointing, unfortunately. I did get the opportunity to talk with some people there, and my understanding is they're not really targeting esports. That was the last thing I talked to them about. So I hope they've done some more discussion since then, and they will refocus into esports. I think there's a lot of potential. But hey, if all these gameplay things are so limited, maybe people won't care as an esport. Esports people want things to be expandable, flexible.
We want depth. I think that's the most important thing with esports. But adding on to what you said, Cable, I know you saw the preview. At Celebration, I was taken into like a media room and like a side media room, and shown a little more footage, and sort of shown actual gameplay, like not the trailer, but actual like gameplay, guys playing the game, and it did seem very stiff, even more so than what you would think that, like, it looks beautiful, of course, but I mean it just looks a little. It looked very staged, and it looks like there's not too much going on there. And I think it's funny that you named Overwatch and Battlefront just because those two titles are so different in the way they're in terms of like versatility and depth and competitive sort of mindset. But I think the FPS industry as a whole, in terms of esports, I think is shifting more towards that MOBA-esque style stuff, and which is why I wanted to touch on Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 had a big thing where they're going more on, you have designated characters and classes that fit roles on a battlefield and roles on a map, and so I think that's a big sort of idea that they're shifting towards that more MOBA style. And I mean, Battlefield's always had sort of that everyone has a role, everyone has a job to do mentality. Absolutely. But I think Call of Duty is really going ahead and taking that to the next step and making it even more MOBA, where Overwatch has really had that from the get-go as their main core idea.
Actually, I've got to say, as much as I think Call of Duty is trying to take its role playing thing, I think it's losing its identity at the same time. A lot of what people really loved about Call of Duty, and especially the whole series, and I'm saying this as a guy that 10th prestiged on Modern Warfare 2. Like, I loved that game to absolute death.
I did it on 4.
Yeah. The thing that Modern Warfare 4, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I did that on 4.
Yeah. So no, I did it on Modern Warfare 2. Yeah. I'm right in my head. You're confusing me. Okay. In my head, I'm always right, by the way. Okay, so getting back to the point is what people really loved about Call of Duty was super realistic body motion. The fact of a guy could run, but you knew what his body was capable of. He had a run that was a certain speed, a relatively low speed for video games, and that he wasn't super jumping, he wasn't combat sliding, he wasn't doing any of these things. There was a very certain range of motion that characters could and could not do, and you learned to play around that sort of movement. And people really liked that. The fact that it isn't Halo jumping where you have to match your gun aim to this wild, insane arc. You aren't running at super dashy speeds. It had a different feel, and it had a different tempo. And, tempo, I think, is a big thing for game players, where, some people mesh with a certain tempo, some people don't. I can play, the old Call of Duty. I can't play Halo. I just can't match that tempo. But, you find your niche in certain places. And I've heard people come out and say, I don't like this added extra motion. Sure, it leads to some crazier antics with your gameplay. And sure, I mainly got this a lot with the most recent Call of Duty. People like, yeah, I mean, sure, we can do super jumps and we can grapple places. But I'd really just rather, do my little bunny hop jumps and earn getting up to like weird, insane places by just doing small jumps. So while they're, trying to maybe add some complexity to it, I'm a little worried about how far they're going to do it and whether they alienate some of their audience from it.
Sure. I think that's a very valid point. And I think that sort of gets the idea of movement and how important movement is. I think, honestly, in my opinion, movement's the most important thing for shooters, and it's what sets shooters apart. And I know we're kind of getting into something that might not be announced, but Titanfall 2, I played a ton of Titanfall, and I love that game. And to me, that sort of Titanfall scared Call of Duty and Battlefield. Sorry.
Oh, it absolutely
Like
did.
that, the way that game moves was so fluid. It was so much fun to just navigate that space. That game was so crazy fun, and that's what you saw with with Advanced Warfare and that stuff, where in Hardline, where you start to see more extravagant movement options and things like that. But I think Titanfall 2 could actually scare some people, or actually craft its own niche into the esports space. Titanfall 1 did to a certain extent, but I think Titanfall 2 certainly could, just because of the amount of experience that studio has now.
Now,
Yeah.
not to wreck the Titanfall train that you wanted to start there,
Sure.
but I have to say, like, I'm surprised we're not focusing on like the sleeping esports giant that is Halo 5. Like,
Oh.
I mean, this is the Microsoft flagship,
Sure.
and they already created kind of the bones for what their esports tournament's going to look like. With the Halo tournament they've ran with ESL this year.
Yeah.
It's largely flown under the radar. Like,
I've been watching it a little bit. It's
Yeah.
really interesting to watch.
it is, but now, with 5 coming in, we've got the new booster setup,
Sure.
which augments movement in very direct ways, so people can really kind of do more interesting things with the patented Halo jump.
Yeah.
They kind of, I think this is interesting, where Call of Duty saw their movement and said, oh, you know what, we need to plus this up by completely changing how we move. I think Halo took a look at how they move, and they're like, wow, we have, like these really insane movements. What happens if we go the next step? It's like, we already have super jumps. What happens if we add super drops, if we add super dashes? And I know a lot of people didn't like, stealth or super armor or overcharge or all the powers that came in with like reach and
The armor abilities.
yeah, the armor abilities. So I know people didn't like those, but I think movement is a little bit better than the way those armor abilities came in. I think people are going to enjoy them a little bit more because they are skill based. It's not, I have this, so I'm going to use it. It's, I can do this now. Is it right for me to do this in this situation? And
Sure.
with the history of Halo and kind of the lore, the prestige of Halo, I really kind of like where it is at a space for maybe coming online as the dominant esports title for console. I still think, when I'm looking at it entering the FPS space right now, I still think the predominant game is going to be CSGO. I don't see anything E3 wise like entering that realm of dominance. But if there's one that's going to, chip away its own piece of the esports pie, I really think Halo 5's got a shot.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey, I hope so.
I know Cable's a big big Halo guy, but I mean, I put in, so the Halo 5 beta came out with Master Chief Collection, if I remember correctly, around like Christmas time, and I played that probably 60 to 70 hours of that.
Wow.
I played a lot of that.
Considering that it was only up for like
It was up for a week.
Yeah.
And
It's impressive.
hey man, I had nothing to do. I had just gotten my Xbox One. I was like, "What? I'll play Halo. I'm down." And so, and plus the servers weren't working, so a lot of it was me sitting there waiting for the servers to like find me a match. So I'm not entirely sure how much of that is 70 hours, but it's pretty much mostly menus at this point. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that game was solid, and as an alpha, beta, or multiplayer alpha, I guess it was. I thought it was solid, and the only thing that I will say is that the armor or the booster system that it had was a little clunky. It takes you out of the experience a little bit, just because yes, ground pounding someone and like pile driving, like jumping up in the air and pile driving your fist into someone's face is awesome. That's the most satisfying thing ever. But it just took so long it was so difficult to set up. And then also I was finding myself sitting in situations where I would boost and then lose track of where I was because the camera's a little jarring in that situation. I'm not entirely sure if it was something that I wasn't entirely used to, or if it was something that it just wasn't as intuitive as I had liked it to be. I also found myself in situations where I would die and then after the fact figure out that, oh yeah, you know what, I could have did that and then sort of moved around here and used the booster ability in this way instead of the way that I used it.
I mean, isn't that the fun of it? Isn't
Yeah.
that like what you're supposed to do? It's like,
Sure.
oh, I died. What could I have done? And then hopefully next time when you're in that same situation, you're like, I know what I'm going to do this time.
Sure, but I think those situations were so few and far between that I never really got into the mindset of using them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they're there is cool, but I like them to have a little bit more versatility. There was times where you would, like, I'd have a shotgun, and to close the gap, I'd boost forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the person has the opportunity to boost back, which is a cool sort of mechanic and things like that. But the boost forward isn't as far as the boost back, if I remember correctly. So you're getting as soon as that sort of happens, there's no. I mean, I'd like them to sort of be even or anything like that to sort of balance it out a little bit more, just to make it so that my boost forward and forcing the person back isn't making it more detrimental to me in that regard.
But doesn't that mean you also have the really unique opportunity to pull a back boost 360?
Back boost 360 no scope?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean,
you keep on seeing this as a negative. You gotta look at it like a positive. This
Sure.
is the Flash, man.
but yeah, I mean, going back on the big thing, I think Halo does have the sort of market pinned down here as sort of the future of console shooters. I think that's definitely going to overtake Call of Duty, at least in an esports sense of things. With MLG moving over as well, I know a lot of teams have dropped their Call of Duty teams and picked up Halo teams now.
Really? Is that the case? I didn't see that news. Major MLG's picking up Halo again?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen between ESL and MLG as far as Halo goes? Are they just going to be simultaneous?
I think they're simultaneous from what I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure how long ESL's contract for is as well. I know MLG picked them up in sort of expectation of Halo 5 rather than for Halo 4. So I know their main focus is to push Halo 5 hard.
Yeah.
Wow. See, now that's I was going to say this whole time that ever since the days of MLG Halo 2, I don't think that we'll ever reach that level of prestige with Halo again. But
Oh man, that's going back to MLG Anaheim on the big stage,
right? If we pick up, or if MLG picks up Halo 5 and they do it right, like they did before, maybe.
Oh, they did Halo 2 so right. They did Halo 2 so right.
It's literally Halo 2 is the best thing that they ever did. They did StarCraft fairly well, but Halo 2 is their crowning jewel. It got them where they are today.
Sure, I think they did Halo 2 the best, and then really close second is Halo 2 or StarCraft 2 beta, and like the first couple of months of StarCraft 2.
I mean, pretty much all of Wings of Liberty was pretty solid. MLG Anaheims were always amazing.
Yeah, MLG Anaheims were always fun. That's always the best event, in my opinion.
But I mean, I don't want to like revisit old wounds, but it was the stupidest decision that they possibly could have made to drop Halo 2. And I know there was a lull, but let's look at, for instance, Smash. Smash lulled for a long time, and now it's back in the skylight or limelight.
Someone make a Halo documentary.
They should. They really
Actually,
should.
yeah, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot to cover.
I was half joking, but seriously, I would watch that.
And I guarantee you there's a lot of footage. I know the local teams, Howie's Game Shack is like a local PC cafe chain here, and they had a Halo team back in the day. They hired a photographer, a cinematographer to go around, follow their team, and take footage. It didn't end up making it into anything, but I'm sure that footage is lying around somewhere and could show the heyday of Halo 2. But, I mean, coming back into present, man, if MLG does Halo 5 right, I will be a very happy person, because the whole AHGL thing, or not AHGL, was it AGL?
What?
That did Halo 4 and Reach. What was the name of that? AGL?
Oh, I think you're AHGL or
After Hours Gaming League?
No.
No.
That's what I'm thinking of when you guys are talking about it.
No, Chris, you're right. I used the wrong acronym, but it is something like AGL.
Yeah, Arena Gaming League, AGL.
There you go.
They botched it so hard, and I mean, a lot of it was a transition between Bungie and 343, right? But I don't know.
Well,
It's hard for me to envision Halo ever reaching its level of amazingness.
Sure, but it
I
doesn't
hope
need
it
to do
does.
that anymore. I think honestly, right now the shooting market is so open, in terms of at least in the U.S. and at least for consoles. Like Call of Duty's fallen kind of off a cliff. Last couple of years hasn't been nearly as strong. Like this is if you're a console shooter, like this is the time to seize the market for yourself. You don't even have to come out that hard. Like,
yeah. You know what's funny is I am not a Call of Duty person at all. I substantially hate Call of Duty actually, which I can be the rebel there, but that's fine with me.
I mean, I played a ton of Call of Duty. I don't see it as overly competitive in terms of an esport. I mean, I know there is some depth to it as well, but I mean, I think I've just seen so many shooters that can do it better.
I don't take anything away from the competitiveness or sports level of it. I really don't like the title, any of the titles of versions. But my aunt, she's just finding out that I do esports, and she was watching X Games this past weekend.
Oh God!
She goes, oh, the X Games, their gaming tent or their gaming lounge seemed to be really good. You should tell your son, my mom. You should tell your son to get in with X Games. Maybe he can do the next X Games gaming lounge. And I'm like, yeah, except for they do all Call of Duty. Yeah. So hey, maybe if X Games picks up, because X Games is partnered with MLG, right? That's how they do it. Is that still correct? Mm-hmm. So hey, maybe if they do, I'll go.
And I mean, here's I introduced this concept a while back, but the title of brand safety, as far as we look at the longevity of what could be and what could not be an esport, or what could get sponsors and what could, have problems getting sponsors, Call of Duty has a lot of problem getting non-endemic sponsors. So anyone that makes gear around, Xbox or console playing, sure, they're going to be all over Call of Duty, but it's harder for other people to get into it, especially when you look at like insurance companies. The last thing an insurance company wants to do is, hey, blowing things up and actual bullets. Let's work with that. Whereas, futuristic space things,
right?
It's possible.
Way easier.
And I mean, there are a couple of others. So I'm very interested to see, who would step up around Halo 5. But I will also say there's a difference in who's putting out Halo 5 versus a difference in who's putting out Call of Duty. Call of Duty, it's going to be actively pushed by the game devs, but Microsoft itself, the juggernaut, the one that every company in the world understands and respects, especially when we're talking about gaming and, teen passions around technology, if they're saying, hey, we've got a game that we'd like you to get behind this new esports movement, I'm going to give the nod to Microsoft over Treyarch coming to me and saying, hey, we want to push the next Call of Duty. I can get behind, Microsoft. Microsoft is just, it's that infallible. You do something with Microsoft, it's done right, and everybody's going to walk out hunky-dory.
Sure, and even as much as Call of Duty sort of taken the pop culture sort of mantle at this point, Halo is still such an iconic name. When you say that in the gaming space, like, it's so iconic.
Even the intro music. Who does not know the Halo intro music?
Sure.
Right? I think, speaking to your point about Microsoft and the Xbox, would you guys agree that Xbox, the original, banked its success on the Halo title?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my friends, we all bought Xboxes to play Halo, and we would take them over each other's house and get crossover cables in order to link them together, right?
Sure. I think I read an article a while ago that ranked the highest, the highest console selling games of like this generation, or like of the last 20-30 years. And like it was like
Mario,
Halo with the original Xbox. It was Mario with the NES. I think the only other game that you can kind of come up with in the same sort of era is Smash Bros. Melee with the GameCube. Like that's sold. Like, is there any other reason to own a GameCube at this point? Like Double Dash, maybe? I don't know. Like there's really nothing else you can think about. The Xbox, same thing. Like there's great games for the Xbox, but everyone always plays it for Halo. I still have my working Xbox just so you can play LAN with Halo.
That's awesome.
Of course, now you can do that with Master Chief Collection, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's touch on Master Chief Collection a little bit. Why did that not blow up more than it should have?
The online capability. That was I did a huge vlog on that. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a huge vlog on that. But
Did you?
Yeah, pretty much everything worked properly in terms of all the individual campaigns. The menu system was great, but it had dedicated servers that didn't work. So for the first 2 months, you could not find a match online.
I mean, we're talking Microsoft here, right? We're talking.
Yeah, but it was
Xbox servers.
343 messed up the coding. The coding got messed up with their servers, so they had to recode all the servers. So
well, I mean, hey, let's put it in context here.
It's extremely difficult.
This was not, the moneymaker as far as, where I put precedent, where I put my man hours, like throwing myself in their shoes. So let's say, the servers aren't that great this time. Take it as a learn. Failed a little bit. Learn for next time. Make sure the servers are like pristine working condition when this game comes out.
Yeah.
But B, I mean, if I'm sitting there, I'm the CFO, and I'm going, oh, well, gee, which one am I going to focus our man hours and focus, our QA testing on? Halo 5, possibly one of our biggest sellers in many moons, or Master Chief Collection, which is a rehashing and essentially a collector's edition.
But I will say that a lot of experts and myself personally, I think that if they botch the Halo 5 launch, they cannot mess this up again.
No.
If Halo 5 comes out and night of I cannot jump into a multiplayer match, that will kill them. Then it's done.
Because they've lost at that point, another 2 years before the next Halo title comes out. They've essentially lost
the amount of trust that they've lost already with hardcore Halo fans for this collection.
Yeah.
The amount of trust they've lost now, and then if they do it again for 2 releases in a row, that's not going to bode well at all. And plus, that's 343's first outings. Those are 2 of its first outings with this title. You can't do that.
I mean, essentially, so putting us back in the frame of E3, there are 2 titles right now that are essentially make or break on 2 absolute behemoth franchises. If Battlefront and Halo 5 don't deliver, they run the risk of killing both of the franchises.
I would agree with that.
Like that, there is so much pressure on both of those developers. Like both, I believe it's DICE on Battlefront, and then also with 343 with Halo. Both of them have to, go above and beyond as far as their reception scores to even, keep these franchises alive, because neither of them have momentum right now. They're essentially existing on hype, but they don't have, we just made a great game, we're moving it, into the next edition. If they hit a wall here, I don't know if there is a revive in the world strong enough to keep them going.
They're rebirthing nostalgic series, both of them.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough. I have so many hopes for Battlefront, but I'm unfortunately not thinking it's gonna go as we want it to. Hey, whatever. I'm gonna pre-order it and play the Battle of Jakku 2 weeks ahead of the launch.
So am I. I already did it. I'm excited, man. Battlefront's gonna be great.
You pre-ordered on
I did.
PS?
On Xbox One. I already got it.
Really? I didn't know you could order. I thought it was PS only pre-order.
Is it really?
Man,
well, I know. I think Jakku is the PlayStation exclusive, isn't it? You get that early, right?
No, it's not PlayStation. Man, don't tell me this. I'm gonna be so mad. Get DLC early access. Pre-order on PS4. Pre-order on Xbox One. Xbox One pre-orders coming soon.
There you go.
But no PC pre-orders coming soon.
Go on Steam, buddy.
Like pre-order Origin. Is that the PC version? I'm kind of getting off.
Yeah, because you gotta go on EA Origin, but yeah. So I mean, there's tons of shooters coming out for E3, but one fighter that kind of caught my eye, Street Fighter 5. What do you think of Street Fighter 5?
Hey.
Does the PS4 exclusivity hurt the esports market?
I say no. Go ahead.
Yeah, I when it comes to fighters, especially like the Street Fighter crowd, I don't think there's an exclusivity strong enough unless said this is only going to be played on like the Sega Jaguar that could kill it.
Yeah.
So I mean, seriously, I've seen these guys come out with like these insane mod boxes for their controls. Like they will jerry rig whatever possible to make sure that they can play Street Fighter exactly the way they want to.
Yeah. What are we excited for Street Fighter 5? I know I'm a huge Street Fighter guy, but I mean, are you guys big Street Fighter guys?
I love Street Fighter and I watch it. I suck at it, so I don't play a substantial amount. But I mean, I think it'll be awesome. What's the scope for change of gameplay in this one?
So they haven't released too much, which is why we're kind of waiting on E3. But the thing that I will say is Ultra Street Fighter 4 was probably one of the most impressive updates to a title that I've seen a developer do in terms of for a competitive landscape I've seen possibly ever. I've never seen a company... Do you guys know about Street Fighter Ultimate before I go off on this? Or Ultra Street Fighter 4?
So... yeah, you're working with a blank slate on me.
Okay, so basically what it is Ultra Street Fighter 4. They took they went into the devs went into the forums, all the professional Street Fighter and fighting game forums, talked to the community, figured out everything else, and did a big mega release called Ultra Street Fighter 4, where they did every balance changes to make it as competitively balanced as possible.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
always great to hear.
That was the most impressive thing. They announced it at Evo, in like 2014, or like they announced that they're gonna talk to people at Evo in 2014, and then they took a year. They released it in December or September or December. They released it in December, so it took them a full year to go ahead and talk to everyone, do balance tests, invite pros over. And then that game came out fully competitively balanced, and now it's going to be at Evo 2015, the newest version of Street Fighter 4. That's completely 100% community built in terms of balance.
Well,
so I mean, like that to me that's extremely impressive for a developer. And I'm excited to see now that they have that information. Probably all those notes that they've taken from the pros and from everyone else talking about it. Taking that into Street Fighter 5, I'm so excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah. So is Street Fighter, would you say, I mean, you're deeper in the fighting game community than I, would you say that they are ingrained in the market such that no matter if they come out with any title, people are going to buy it? Or is there a development criteria that people are looking for to buy the next one? Like, why is Street Fighter not staying at the Melee level? Why is none of the previous Street Fighters just the best one?
I think it's just iterations. I think everyone just kind of takes iterations. And the thing is with Street Fighters, they never really drop mechanics. They just sort of add on mechanics to what they're doing. So like while Melee, you lost a little bit of movement capability and everything like that, sort of offensive capabilities and play styles from Melee to Brawl.
You didn't lose a little. You
lost the whole thing. So going from Melee to Brawl, you can't play offensively and you lose like a shit ton of like movement capability, right?
Yeah.
So then going now from when you talk about Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 are essentially the same game, just with things added onto it that make it better or easier to play. Essentially speaking. So
what people actually want from Super Smash Brothers.
Yes. So yeah. So if Smash Brothers took Melee and just added on characters and mechanics that people liked and didn't take anything away, that's kind of what the Street Fighter franchise does. And so yeah, it's sort of now what MK9 and 10 are doing for Mortal Kombat, where they're not taking away things too much. They're just going ahead and adding things on. I think that's what they're doing now with the Street Fighter systems.
Well, I mean, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's happening now.
I hope that they put out another Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. Did you guys watch that at all?
Oh, the little short film?
No, it was a full series. It was YouTube's full series.
Was it the sort of parody one where
No, it's live action. It's like
yeah, I know, but is it where Ryu opens up a school, like a Shoryuken school?
No.
What's that? What am I talking about? There's a College Humor one, I think. It's a Street Fighter series.
Okay. No, Assassin's Fist is the one that was a full YouTube series that was like real serious drama that was showing how Ryu and Ken... Real serious drama.
Oh, okay, I've seen this. No, okay.
How Ryu and Ken learn and become, and how Akuma becomes Akuma, and it's sick, dude.
Yes, I've seen this.
I actually really loved it, and I hope that they put out another one of those, and maybe they'll announce it at E3.
Okay, so I have seen this, and it's awesome. Yes, I do agree with you. What I was referring to was there's a College Humor series that they ran called Street Fighter: The After Years, which is what happens after they're all older, and they're like in their 60s and 70s. What are they doing now? And
no.
Okay, so
I want to see this.
That's what I was referencing. That's completely different. Don't look that up. That's hilarious, but it's completely different. But what Cable's talking about is Assassin's Fist, and that's awesome. I've seen that too. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for Street Fighter 5. I'm sad that it's only coming to PS4, especially now that Evo announced that they're moving everything over to Xbox because of the problems with the PS4, for connectivity reasons. But yeah, I'm hoping that they fix them by the time Street Fighter 5 comes out, and then we can have that at Evo. I'm sure we probably will. But so the other thing that I want to go ahead and talk about is sort of a wild card at this point. And okay, so I have to preface this first. I don't see speedrunning as something esports, but I think it sort of fits the same niche space, and sort of it is something that esports people are very interested in.
Absolutely.
And speedrunning, and I think that I think every esports person probably or fan of esports probably watches some kind of speedrunning stream or has seen speedrunning before, whether it's ADGQ or something like that. And I think Mario Maker has a huge potential to go ahead and occupy a big place in the speedrunning space, or at least be an interesting sort of dynamic thrown in there.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what people would do as far as setup, run. I mean, they could put some devilish stuff out there.
Oh yeah, like one win condition.
Yeah, I mean the things that you see people do with custom levels with Mario right now, even just coding it on their own. Mm-hmm. It's like some of the stuff. It's just like, who sat there and did the 1 million iterations to get through this map correctly? Like, it's just, some of it is just wicked hard.
Yeah, but I mean, now that you're giving those tools over to what is, I mean, if you played Little Big Planet, there's so much stuff in Little Big Planet that's just super impressive, and so now you take that idea and you give it to Mario. There's so many people that are gonna be interested. There's so many fans. There's so many creative people out there. I'm super excited to see what we come up with, and I mean, I'm hoping it takes up a big space at maybe AGDQ or something like that. Could be really exciting to see.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's it's got its space. It's got the attention. The one thing it's going to have to avoid is the phallic master creators that are bound to arrive in any create your own content scenario.
The internet, that's what the internet's made for, though. The amount of phallic images on the internet is
Well, here's a question. Is Nintendo, because we all know what they did with Smash 4, but are they orienting this at all towards speedrunning? Is that even in their scope of view?
No, but I think Nintendo games just somehow becomes speedrunning staples.
Sure, it's by default, and I understand, but in the same way that we're talking, all these esports companies or all these developers orient their games toward esports from the development now. Is there any effort towards that in Mario type of games?
I think I don't think they did it with the intent in mind for Smash, but I think they're pushing it now. But I mean, we're starting to see it now. I mean, they brought back the Nintendo World Championships. I mean, they're doing that again.
Do we even have a description of what that is right now?
Well, I know they're running games off of NEX Remix.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're running titles off NEX Remix, and I think they're doing high score and speed variations. So I know they're running it at, I think, 8 Best Buys across the country, and then flying everyone out here for LA for a final. And we'll see. I mean, I'm interested in it. They haven't done it since the 90s, so...
Yeah, I feel that it's still such a weird
it is.
play. Like, I mean, considering that E3 is all about the future of what your company is going to do, and you're like, you know what? Let's go play all the old games you remember.
But they're remixed, and if anyone's going to hit you with a nostalgia bomb and make it count, it's Nintendo.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But is that going to get you to buy anything from them? Is the question. I mean, E3, they're spending all kinds of money in order to get people to buy stuff, right? That's the whole point of doing it.
Think about the rumors of what they could announce at E3, right? Like Splatoon is great. Like, I love Splatoon. I think that could occupy an esports space if someone gives it a shot. But that's a whole different thing. But Splatoon's a new franchise. They're starting all these kind of new ideas, codenames Project Steam, stuff like that. But what's the big hype on E3? Like, they're gonna probably announce Star Fox. They could announce Metroid. You know, if this games that
more details on Fire Emblem.
Yeah, Fire Emblem.
Actually, did you watch their Japanese production of introducing the new concepts to Fire Emblem?
Yes.
Some of it got weird.
Yeah,
Some of it got really weird.
Hey, I'm Japanese, so none of that's weird to me.
I'm not using my stylus to draw on people's lips.
It's completely normal to me within Japanese culture. Trust me. If you played a dating sim, my God, man.
Luckily, haven't gone there yet. So let's hope I avoid that stage.
Esports dating sim. How many girls can you get?
But you know what? You know what game Nintendo does have that does have an esports subculture starting to pop up for it? Puzzles and Dragons.
Yes.
Did you not?
No, my girlfriend loves that game. My girlfriend is sort of obsessive about that game, so I know a lot about Puzzle Dragons, more so than I probably should.
So they have a combo game coming out for Puzzles and Dragons.
It's already out.
Puzzles and Dragons Z mixed with Mario Puzzles and Dragons.
Yes, it's already out. And the funny thing is that the Super Mario version of that game is better than Puzzle Dragons Z.
And they are also talking Pokemon crossover, Puzzles and Dragons.
God.
I think that's going to be a DLC that you can add to your Pokemon.
Oh God.
So, but there has been a.
Well, I know they've given it a shot with Pokemon Shuffle. They have Pokemon Shuffle.
Pokemon Shuffle.
Yeah, with that, I mean, I know they've given that a shot. That's like
dog, bring back Dr. Mario.
Yeah, dude. but kind of rolling it back here though, the thing about what Nintendo, all the tools that Nintendo has, like, in its histories that they can pull back in, if they hit you with some nostalgia, right, and then they're like, here's this new thing that brings back that nostalgia, you'll go ahead and pre-order that.
Yeah, but I mean, once again, we're not focusing on the pre-order here. We're focusing on what is their esports potential.
Sure.
And what is their esports appetite.
Sure.
And
if they bring dog fighting into Star Fox, I'll buy that and play that. I'll play professional Star Fox.
That would be really interesting. Could you imagine Team Star Fox?
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Like, that would be World of Tanks on steroids almost.
Oh yeah, it'd be great.
There would be some real interesting stuff there.
You mean World of Airplanes? World of Air Fighters? Isn't World of Airplanes a thing?
I'm gonna go back to my Star Wars loving roots. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Bring it back, make it better, and make it an esport. Nothing has compared in a flight sim.
I personally played a ton of Ace Combat. Was Ace Combat ever a big esport? No, right?
No.
That was never anything competitive, right?
I think I played that game quite a bit too, actually. Personally
speaking, I don't know if watching it may be interesting, but certainly playing air combat games are tons of fun.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Star Fox, Ace Combat, all that stuff. All air combat's just fun, and I'd be interested to see someone explore that. But kind of getting a little off topic. But I mean, what the final thing that I really wanted to bring up to you guys was sort of the idea of 4v1s. So we saw it this year with Evolve. Fable Legends is bringing it up as well. Personally speaking, I love Evolve, and I'm curious to see if that occupies an esports space. I know it has a small pocket now that I've sort of explored and talked to some people in there. But
how does that function? I'm not familiar with that. But how do you have a 4v1 in an esports space? Do you have a team?
You have a team. You have a team
back and forth.
You have a team of 5.
Okay, yeah.
So one person's a designated monster.
Yeah,
specialist.
you have one monster specialist, and then they race. Who it's side by side.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little harder. When I look at things that esports-wise have succeeded, they usually succeed in the fact that they're explainable in some sort of easy frame of reference. It has a score saying who can bag the most prey, or who can bag
the beast first.
Yeah, it's a little harder. It's not something that there's a set score or standard.
Well, I know they either go side by side race, or they go best of 3 or first to 3, and they go match system that way. But as far as I know, some teams have a designated, or most teams have a designated monster player, but some of them do have one that does both. But like that, to me, Evolve had so much depth to its strategy. Once you started getting in the different hunters, I think what killed Evolve was the horrible progression system. Just personally, I think that's the same problem that Heroes of the Storm is running into, but that's a different thing. Progression's a big deal, guys.
It really is. Oh man, we had that whole episode on CS:GO and why it got so big, and I know progression within, but microtransactions too, right? Like that. I was talking to somebody today. He's in the industry, and he's like, CS:GO blew up because of microtransactions. That's exactly why. So the
want to buy a gun
element,
for $10?
Yeah, that's a acquisitions, but it's also slightly a progression, right? You slowly progress your look, your character, you develop, you change over time, and if you start losing that, then you're losing your interest.
Sure, but yeah, it's kind of funny when you think about how Dota and League sort of came out, guns blazing with their progression system. It's not easy to get to max level in Dota or League to get to ranked. That's a long grind, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, the grind up in ranked is even a progression in itself.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And collecting heroes. In League you have to collect champs, but for Dota you have unlocked heroes. But it's the progression systems in both of those games are extremely long.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. If I was to start League now, like I started season 1, so
sure.
It was a little less daunting when I looked at, there are a whole lot of champions to learn. If I started now, I would be simply overwhelmed in trying to, collect all the champions. Like, I don't know if it's possible for someone who starts the game off now to collect all champions without paying for some along the way. Like, it would take a ridiculous amount of playtime to even approach that.
Somebody made a thread on that on Reddit, tallying up the total amount of time it would take and or the total amount of money that it would take to purchase all the characters and runes to match, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find it.
But yeah, it's funny. I was talking to a friend that just started playing League probably a month ago or a couple months ago, and he had just hit 30. And he wanted to play a ranked game. He didn't have enough champions, and so I told him how many he needs to get. He got them, and then he asked me, "How many champions do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, I have them all." He's like, "Wow, did you pay for any of them?" It's like, I think 1 or 2, but most of them I've just kind of earned along the way. And he's like, "Wow, how long have you been playing?" I was like, "Years." I don't know, a long time.
I'll say when I started, I had a brief stretch where I was getting stomped by someone, and then I'm like, I have. That guy's just broken. I have to buy that.
Is he
what
Launch
was-
Xin Zhao? Is he Xin Zhao?
No, what was Olaf? Like, I just went into this
Oh, yeah.
one game where there was this guy playing Olaf, and he went like 40-2.
Ooh,
Because I mean, come on, we were all starting the game. Those
Yeah.
games just
just
happen. where
running
one guy
at
goes-
people. Yeah.
yeah, goes out of control. So I was like, oh man, Olaf, this is just so broken. And then of course I watched Hotshot stream on Nidalee, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to buy Nidalee like right now. I can just play this champion forever. And not to mention the fact that I think the worst decision I ever made was the first 6300 I ever bought with my IP. I bought Aurelia, which
Oh.
good champion, but not for noobs.
No, she's difficult to play.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think of like when I first started. Well, I will say Launch Xin Zhao was super broken, and then Launch Ezreal too was super broken with the W heal.
okay, that we're going down the annals of League history here.
Yeah, no,
And this can go on forever
Yeah.
about who was the most broken.
I think Xin Zhao
World
takes
champion.
the cake. I think at launch Xin Zhao was the most broken champion.
I don't know, man. I still remember like a stretch in time where there was not a game without Jax
Oh,
when
Yeah.
he got health from AD and health from AP,
yeah,
and you would just see like every game was play with Jax. The one that I didn't experience, and I think I'm lucky that I didn't have to experience the full brunt of how broken this was Kale with her first passive.
Oh God,
AD builds AP, AP builds AD.
yes.
I was low enough that people didn't know how to abuse
Oh.
that, but I can imagine like
That was so broken.
that had to hurt.
Yeah, she was.
But
oh.
okay, we've gone off topic yet
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yet
But
again. So
but
let's
let's
go
jump back.
to E3, folks.
Sure. So a lot of things that I'm hearing too is that they're gonna talk about, Fable Legends, of course, is the 4v1 game. I've heard a lot of talk about maybe another Evolve or like some more expansions for Evolve that they're gonna go ahead and talk about as well. Do we see this being a thing? I mean, have you guys heard a lot about Evolve? Have you played a lot of Evolve?
No, I personally
I played it
have
at
not touched
shows.
Sure. So I played it a ton. Let me look at my Xbox. I have 106 hours in Evolve.
it. Okay.
And so I played a ton of Evolve, and once sure, the game is boring at the first part because you have one hero, you have four guys to pick from and two monsters. But as soon as you start unlocking everything and you see the depth of how each one of these sort of roles fit in with each other and the different types of people you have and their abilities and what they can do, that game has so much depth to it. And I'm very sad that a game like that isn't getting the love that it deserves, or at least in my opinion, because of its horrible conversion system. Which is what we got to that point in the beginning. But yeah, I mean, once you get past that progression system, I think that game is absolutely built for competitive play.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, P.S. I found the Reddit thread. As of right now, let's see. This is right before Echo was released.
Okay.
As of right now, you need 996,855 IP to unlock everything on your account without spending money. At the next champion release, this number will exceed 1 million. According to Riot, the average game length of Summoner's Rift is 30-45 minutes. Average IP you earn is 60 to 90. In other words, you have to play approximately 8,418 hours of League of Legends to unlock everything with IP.
So 18,400.
And that's just champions. That's not
8,400
runes and
hours.
Or
Okay.
that's not runes.
8,400. Let's divide that by 40.
How many work weeks you need
Yes.
to put in?
Yeah. Okay. Then divide. And what's minimum what's minimum wage? It's like 10 $10,
Like
right?
$10, say, yeah.
Hold on, let's see. Work hours, right? So let's see. That's 140 and 40 hours. Yeah, so that's 210 work weeks. It's 4 years work weeks, approximately. That is ridiculous, my friends. That's a lot of League of Legends.
Yeah.
It really is. Anyway.
But yeah, so guys, I guess kind of closing thoughts on E3 and sort of where do we see any of these games sort of stepping in and being esports juggernauts? Let's go 5 years. Let's go within the next 2 to 3 years. Do we see them being esports juggernauts?
Done right, Halo 5.
Yeah, I hope so. And the other one would be Overwatch.
Yeah, but we have to hold on Overwatch. I mean, all signs point to it not being us even getting hands on it this year.
Sure.
So
well, I think
Really?
it's in beta now. It's in beta now.
No,
Overwatch?
is it in beta? No,
It's an alpha. It's an alpha. But I mean,
It's an
I'm
alpha.
seeing clips on it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, clips that they put out though.
No, I've seen clips of people playing stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go on the Overwatch subreddit, there's actually some stuff going on there.
I'm surprised Blizzard hasn't shut that down real fast.
I saw clips. I see clips go up and get taken down all the time, but I mean it's on there. I've seen some gameplay.
Feels like someone's breaking an NDA at that.
Yeah. So
It won't be invited to the next alpha.
Yeah, right now if you go on the Overwatch subreddit, the third one is Overwatch counters Pharaoh amateur video. And there's stuff like that. There's Hanzo gameplay analysis, stuff like that all over here.
All right. So let's end on a fun question here, folks.
Sure.
So,
What you got?
which press conference are you looking forward to, and why?
Ooh. I will have to say Bethesda. Because I love some Fallout. And I'm really hoping for some Doom. Because I want Doom to come back.
Do you want a big sorry for paid Skyrim mods?
I want horse armor. I want some horse armor, and then I want to see it. I want to see Dishonored 2 because I love Dishonored. I thought that game was super impressive, and I want to see another one.
All right, Cable, on you.
Man, I just had one, and now I lost it.
Well, to tell you the truth, I've fallen asleep at the last 3 Microsoft press conferences during the Connect segments.
I think I'm right. I think I'm right, but the Motiga one for Gigantic, right?
What? For
They're having a press conference, right?
Let me see. E3. I know. There's a Square Enix one. I know. There is.
God, that Square Enix conference.
Yeah, there's a Square Enix one. There is a. Hold on. There's a Square Enix one. There's a Microsoft one. E3 or EA. Let me look it up. Please stand.
I feel like a Square Enix presentation should have no audio. Should just be sitting there staring at graphics the entire time.
Wow.
All right, here. So there's the Oculus one that happens on the 11th, so that happens on Friday. There's a Smash Brothers Direct. There's the Nintendo World Championships. There is a Bethesda one. There's Microsoft, of course, EA, of course, Ubisoft, Sony, the Nintendo Direct, Square Enix, and the PC Gaming Show.
Oh, I was mistaken.
So that is what we have currently.
I guess I would say for me it's a tie between Microsoft and EA.
Okay. So why Microsoft and why EA?
Mm-hmm.
Halo 5 and Battlefront. I mean,
That's one track mind. We're going to ask Cable, it's like, so what do you think of E3? It's like, well, Battlefront looks good and Halo looks good. Did anything else get talked about? I don't know. My head was in sand the entire time. I peaced out when my Star Wars senses were happening.
I'm gonna fall asleep at the Microsoft press conference as per usual, and then Cable's gonna run by me and just whack me across his head, being like, "They talking about Halo 5?"
I'll hit you with my lightsaber that I bring with me to E3.
Sounds aggressive.
Wow. You know that you can't just tap someone with a lightsaber. It kind of goes
through my head.
Through everything.
If it has to happen.
I actually have my custom lightsaber here. Actually, it's on camera if you can see it.
All right, so I'm going to actually go with the conference that I thought was relatively entertaining for the side company that they brought in last year. Nintendo last year, when they did their Direct, brought in Robot Chicken
That
to
was
do
awesome.
their transitions.
The
which I thought was-
the Reggie robot?
Yeah, the Reggie robot. And I thought, that was actually some interesting, playful segments that they brought into the show. And I mean, does Nintendo need a little extra humor and entertainment thrown into their presentations? Heavens, yes.
But you don't want it being taken directly to you?
No. No. Like, I mean, let's face it, there are a couple of their directs where they talk about, like, Yoshi's Yarn story and
Woolly
Kirby's...
World? That game's gonna be great, okay?
I mean, the game's going to be great, but the way that they present them, like, the last direct I remember where they were talking about it, they went to this guy's, like, Japanese home, and it was super chill music in the background, and you hear the water trough banging in the background. I'm like, please just have Seth Green come in and make fun of this for, like, 30 seconds. You can do all of your super tasteful Japanese cultural heritage video, but give me like 30 seconds of Robot Chicken to make this funny. But so to get to my point, now that they've done Robot Chicken 1 year, do they bring in Robot Chicken to do another presentation again? Do they perhaps bring in another third-party candidate to come in and make some content? Could it be a Dorkly, a College Humor? Could it be Machinima? Just a lot of these groups that actually have great track records for making content with Nintendo IP. I think it's really cool if those people get integrated into these giant press conferences. I know you want it to be all about your product, but hey, let it be about your IP a little bit as well. Like, give fans something beyond just, let's talk about gameplay. You want to see a trailer? I got a trailer. We rented the freaking NASA computer again to give you this trailer.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's always one that I'm super excited for, but I think Nintendo has the biggest potential to blow my mind this year. Out of all the press conferences, that Direct has the biggest potential to blow my mind.
Now, when was the last time you said that about Nintendo, right? It's been a while since Nintendo's really been the cutting edge, blowing your mind.
Well, they blew my mind last year with the open world Zelda.
Yeah.
That blew my mind last year.
Any more details we get on open world Zelda in the relative future? I know it's not E3.
Yeah.
But, like the
Gamescom.
The second they whisper Zelda, the entire world just goes haywire.
Well, the entire world leans up against Miyamoto's door and tries to listen through a glass. Like,
I think that they need a Zelda signal where this amazing conch shell just reverberates around the world. And Zelda.
I love it.
That's what needs to happen.
So what if Dylan, they made a Zelda, a one-on-one Zelda fighting game that was at Evo.
I mean, come on, you already have Zelda in
Soul Calibur. Yeah. But no, I'm talking.
Calibur. I mean Smash.
They have them Smash too. But still,
Link and Zelda are both playable characters, not competitively played characters. Well, no, Sheik is. Yeah. Sheik said.
And if you're Armada, you play Young Link.
Yeah.
If you're Armada, you have an off-pick main Link or Young Link that you use. But
I mean, would people love a very competitive sword fighting game featuring everyone's favorite muted protagonist? Heavens, yes. Will we ever get said game? Probably not. Especially not at a super competitive, not fun for all ages in the family.
Sure. I will say though, going back sort of to something I touched on earlier, Splatoon is going to surprise people in terms of how popular the game is. When the sales numbers come out later this month for how well Splatoon did, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Nintendo pushing that really, really hard.
I'm gonna say there's a lot of caveat to Wii U titles. Sure. Where a lot of people bought into the Wii U and then they make purchases to try and validate their Wii U.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Very true. But I will say that at E3 last year, I was all about Smash, waiting on that Smash line, going to see the Smash Invitational, and then over in the corner was this game that was getting some buzz, not really no one near it because the Miyamoto game's over there, and all kinds of stuff going on, and then here's this game about squids and ink, and I went over there and I played Splatoon. I fell in love with it, got it on day one, and I've had trouble putting it down recently. Like, that game is so good. There's a lot of depth to it competitively as well. As stupid as that sounds, there's so much depth to the way that painting the map in terms of using ink to paint the map is such a creative way to visually distinguish control and who's winning the game. Like, it's sort of amazing. Like, because
it's not Tony Hawk Pro Skater at all.
No, but like it's the kind of thing of but it's the kind of thing of like if I'm in the enemy base, or if I'm in an area and I haven't seen an enemy in a long time, then like I can pretty much assume that they're back in my base painting my whole base. Like and there's certain things of just like the way movement works, where you can dive into your own ink and then jump out, and sort of like, so there's times of where you can't snipe that guy across the map, but there's a trail that goes right behind him, so you can go ahead and just ink through that and then jump out right behind him and just splat him. And again, if that does become competitive, or does become sort of a major deal, that's a very easy sell for getting around the guns issue that we were talking about earlier as well.
It is, but you have to wonder about what it stretches.
Sure.
It's very cartoony.
Yeah.
And so there
so
are
is Smash.
It almost has the opposite problem.
You have the realism
the
thing.
Problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is actually so cartoony. A lot of people would have to wonder, does this scale too low for us to advertise towards?
Yeah, I was thinking actually it'd be a good discussion for a future episode, maybe after E3 or the one following E3, since that one's going to be recapping. But of what things qualify a game to be a good esport?
Yeah.
Not just prospectively, but even retrospectively. Look at all the things that have successfully become, or that started to but died, and then we can use those as criteria for future. I think that's interesting thing, because we brought up 5 titles today that that'd be awesome if it was an esport, but will probably never be. And why is that?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, guys. So I think we're pretty much done with the discussion here. We'll close it out right now, guys. Any final comments? Any final words before we head off to our E3 sort of destinations and see what's going on?
If you picked up the E3 drinking game from Reddit, don't do it. You cannot survive any of those E3 drinking games. They are all designed to kill you and your liver.
A PSA from our good friend Dylan Hornibrook here. Cable?
I don't know. This is going to be my first year actually attending E3. So I'm really excited to walk around and get to see all the things, but more importantly, just to talk to people and get to meet so many cool and talk to so many cool esports people I haven't seen in so long. So that's the thing I'm really looking forward to from this, is the scene of it all, the community of it all, versus just the titles themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So yeah, this is going to be my 5th or 6th E3 now that I'm going to be at and covering and sort of taking a look at.
Lucky.
Yeah, so go ahead. If you guys are interested in going ahead and asking questions or meeting up, having lunch, go ahead, tweet at me at KidLiquid. It's also in the YouTube video as well, under all of our names. All of our Twitters are. You can go ahead and follow me at KidLiquid. You can follow Cable at Cable SCES. And then you can go ahead and follow Dylan at CCG_Pepidus. And we can go ahead.
I can't really Vanna White a lower third. I tried.
We can go ahead and fix it in post. It's fine. I can make it text bigger. But yeah, guys, we can go ahead and get that done. So we're going to end out this episode. We'll see you next week. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great E3.